Okay, so I'm going to do this series where I'm just showing off my hikes. I haven't really taken any of the rocks out of this one. I didn't want to take any of the rocks and throw them out. It's just what I stuck in my pocket. I meant to bring a spray bottle, and I didn't, so I ended up with basically some basalt. They just look really jagged, and I don't sit there and think about stuff while I'm there. I just stick it in my pocket. And so it has this jaggedy shape, and it was covered in dirt. Now some of these rocks, when I pick them up, they're covered in dirt before I ever even get them home and wash them. So, I mean, I just don't want to sit there. But see, that also put these extra rocks. Now, in my other videos, I never really showed that. There's a good, handful of rocks that when I'm digging through the dirt piles, and I find them, and even though they're basalts, a lot of these other rocks may be, so dirty I can't really tell. And I don't just sit there and wait. I just move along, shove it in my pocket. I mean, I figure this much weight ain't gonna matter. And they look kind of jaggedy, like this one looked flat. Well, I mean, you'll end up with flat type agates. So, I mean, and they're both covered in dirt, and I can't tell. I mean, so there, we ended up with a bunch of basalt. So anyway, I didn't get skunked this time. Here's a blue, one Ellensburg Blue. I'm gonna get it up close to you so you can check it out. I mean, it's not huge, but it's clearly blue. You got some of the matrix on the outside. There is a chip on one side, it looks like, right around there. There's a chip. All in all, it still looks like I could make a couple of rings out of it, like maybe one out of this side, maybe a 10/8, and then another one, kind of like maybe some sort of a really thin oval. Anyway, or just collect it. I'm just really happy to get it. So definitely a blue. But I was just going to show the rest of the rocks that I'm getting out of this place, so we get a chance for this thing to clear up. I mean these are clear rocks. It's definitely an agate, very with that crystalline quartz content. I mean, you can glass these things. This is very yellowy. This is one that really kind of caught my eye. There was only like a piece of it sticking out. This is all caked on dirt. It was in a little pile, like a little mound. I'm going to do some videos where I kind of show what I'm picking up. And this whole rock is caked with this dirt. And this is basically what I'm looking for, except the wrong color. I was looking for one of these in blue, and this one came out white. So this is a white agate with a lot of crystalline content inside, all that whitish kind of stuff. I mean, you're looking at it, it's hard. It is fully, it is a clear rock. I mean, you could make rings out of it, I guess, but they need to be white powder rings. Maybe I'll cut it just to see what it looks like. But it just ended up the wrong color. I mean, but with all that red dirt, here's a little bit more of it on there. It's a little bit more basalt than anything else. It looked really dark, like perhaps it could be a blue. I was excited to get this piece. I was coming out of the field, I seen it, that far in, dug it out with my hands, pulled it up, and it is a white agate. Still kind of cool. I'll probably just keep it. I'm just gonna put bags together so I can just like start numbering my hikes. Anyway, so this is another rock. Kind of shows you the matrix. It's kind of hard to tell, when you sit there and you're these are agates. They do. So what I do is I just look for anything that's decently sized. Here's another white agate, but it was covered in dirt, and so I'm just looking for anything that allows light into the rock. And if I'm unsure, I just stick it in my pocket. I mean, this allows some light, not much, but it was just cut. It's basically a chunk off of basalt with a little bit of crystalline content. Here's another one of those same little thingies. But in the field, I don't sit there and discern. I don't sit there and think about it. Okay, so here's another rock. You see these too a lot. So you've got a lot of basalt. You've got some like crystalline content. You've got, layers. Like there's a little layer. It looks kind of blue, but yeah. And then there's like a clear, like quartzy area. You can see that, there is some solidness to this rock, but it's also got its translucence. And you picture that covered in red dirt, man. You kind of see it, and it could very well be a blue. Obviously, it did not pan out this time. Same way with this. I mean, you're looking for stuff like that, except for the color blue, not white. But, they probably formed all colors. Here's something really weird. I always see these. So I don't call them like field eggs, but they're definitely round. It's like some pea gravel. But they do allow light to come through. So definitely a kind of a crystal rock, but I don't know. It's kind of gray, but when you have a little dirt on it, they look weird. But the other thing that's really not cool about them is they're always roundish, and so that's definitely a sign that it's not necessarily blue, because you're blue, you're gonna get a lot of that. Let's see if I can get it to focus. You're going to get a lot of that jagged. I mean, this is a basalt vein this was formed in. So I think that was formed in like some sort of basalt bubble. Anyway, me and my friend always called these dragon eyes. No, kind of because some of them will look like they've got these lines that go down that almost look like eyes. Or sometimes this one doesn't really. It's definitely an agate. You've definitely got something that's full on. It is a clear, it is a translucent rock, but it is not a blue. They're neat though. They've got lines, like crystal lines through them, like quartz lines, and then you got agates, and then you got other kind of quartz in them. But the whole thing is just a really nice agate. But value, nada. Here's another one. It's just a little weird thingy, kind of weird looking color. And you get a lot of these that are just like little chips. It's a little white chip, but covered in dirt. You want to pick it up. Sometimes, you will find them that small. Another one of those little round rocks. Here's another egg. This egg is definitely white, stained yellow. Some sort of an agate. Not the goal here. Alright, so we got definitely a matrix. I mean, that's good. The matrix is good, like the mother stone, but no agate. Definitely still, like, you're pulling light. I mean, yeah, it ain't a whole lot, but covered in dirt, it's really hard to tell. Now, stones used to come out a lot of years ago, and they'd have this stuff on the outside. So I think in the basalt crack, you have this on both sides, and then the blue agate in the middle when it was formed. I mean, it still allows light to go through, but it's not a blue at all. Like I said, I pretty much got only one blue this time, which ain't super surprising. You're really looking at Ellensburg's blues. They, whether the argument is that agates happen all over the world, it's another story. But if you're in Ellensburg and you're trying to find blue rocks, And that's definitely got a little bit of a bluish tint to it. I mean, I'll keep it for, like, you know, an oddity. I was really hoping that was going to be the blue. But, you know, the hike was good. You know, I got my family out. We hiked better part of, you know, 3 or 4 miles, I would imagine, because you kind of just zigzag around. Everything's an uneven step, so you're always having, you know, to work on your core when you're walking around, especially in the, you know, the rock fields, which is kind of where you want to be. So let's get a zoom up. That's a pretty good zoom. Move it over, zoom in again, so you can kind of see, using kind of a white background. To help you. Always going to come home with extra rocks. Some of them are really cool. I mean, there's a lot of jasper and everything else in those fields. So there's my 2 cents. Look for the little mounds of dirt. Then my next hike, I'll videotape a bunch of different clips. I mean, I don't want to videotape 8 hours and put it on here, but I'll definitely, if I can find one before I know it is, I'll try to get it as I'm getting it and I'm picking it up. But this might help somebody. I was out at the Tomahawk Ranch